Sometimes the heart does not become quiet because it stops feeling. It becomes quiet because it has felt too much. It has carried too many disappointments. It has waited for too many apologies that never came. It has trusted people who were not careful with it. It has loved deeply and hurt silently. At first, the heart tries to explain. It tries to forgive. It tries to understand. It tries to stay soft. But after too much pain, something changes. The heart stops reacting to everything. It stops begging to be understood. It stops chasing people who keep leaving. And slowly, the heart becomes quiet. The first reason your heart becomes quiet is because it is tired of being hurt. Pain changes the way a heart responds. At first, you may cry. You may overthink. You may ask why this happened. You may replay every word and every moment. You may try to understand what went wrong. But when pain keeps repeating, the heart becomes exhausted. It no longer has energy to react loudly. It no longer has energy to explain the same sadness again. It no longer wants to prove that it was hurt. So it becomes quiet. Not because the pain is small, not because it does not matter, but because the heart is tired of bleeding in places nobody notices. The second reason your heart becomes quiet is because it learns who really cares. Pain reveals people. It shows who listens when you are not easy to understand. It shows who stays when you are not fun to be around. It shows who checks on you when you stop showing up. It shows who notices the silence behind your smile. Some people only love your happy version. Some people only stay when you are useful to them. Some people only care when your pain does not require effort. And when your heart realizes this, it becomes quieter. It stops sharing everything with everyone. It stops giving access to people who only take. It stops explaining deep feelings to shallow listeners. It stops expecting care from people who never truly showed it. And this quietness becomes a kind of wisdom. The third reason your heart becomes quiet is because it no longer wants to chase. There is a kind of pain in chasing people. Chasing attention, chasing replies, chasing love, chasing apologies, chasing the version of someone you thought they were. At first, you chase because you care. You chase because you hope things can go back to normal. You chase because your heart does not want to lose what matters. But after too much chasing, the heart becomes tired. It realizes that love should not feel like begging. It realizes that connection should not require self-abandonment. It realizes that if someone wants to stay, they will not make you chase them. So the heart steps back. The fourth reason your heart becomes quiet is because silence starts to feel safer. When words were ignored, silence begins to protect you. When honesty was judged, silence begins to protect you. When your feelings were dismissed, silence begins to protect you. When people misunderstood you too many times, silence becomes a shelter. You stop explaining every emotion. You stop defending every reaction. You stop trying to make everyone see your side. You stop opening your heart in unsafe places. At first, this silence may feel lonely, but later, it can feel peaceful. It gives your heart space to breathe. It gives your mind space to rest. It gives your soul distance from people who drain you. And slowly, silence becomes protection. The fifth reason your heart becomes quiet is because it is learning boundaries. A quiet heart is not always a broken heart. Sometimes, it is a heart that finally learned where to stop. It learned not to give everything to people who give nothing back. It learned not to forgive the same behavior without change. It learned not to stay where love feels like pain. It learned not to carry people who never carry it back. Boundaries can feel strange at first. They can feel cold. They can feel selfish. They can feel uncomfortable. But boundaries are not walls built from hate. They are doors built from self-respect. They protect the soft parts of you that are still healing. And every boundary teaches your heart that peace matters too. The sixth reason your heart becomes quiet is because it is done proving itself. For a long time, you may have tried to prove you were good enough to be chosen, good enough to be loved, good enough to be respected, good enough to be understood. You may have given more, explained more, waited more, and forgiven more. But one day, the heart gets tired of proving what should already be seen. It stops trying to convince people of its value. It stops performing for acceptance. It stops shrinking to fit into places that never felt safe. It stops begging for basic respect. This quietness is not arrogance. It is self-recognition. It is the moment your heart finally says, I know my worth now. The seventh reason your heart becomes quiet is because it has accepted the truth. Acceptance is not always peaceful at first. Sometimes, acceptance hurts. It hurts to accept that someone is not who you hoped they were. It hurts to accept that an apology may never come. It hurts to accept that some people will never understand your side. It hurts to accept that you gave your heart to the wrong place. But acceptance also brings freedom. It stops the heart from fighting reality. It stops the mind from replaying the same questions. It stops the soul from waiting at a door that will not open. When the heart accepts the truth, it stops arguing with pain. It stops asking the past to become different. It stops waiting for closure from people who cannot give it. And quietly, it begins to let go. The eighth reason your heart becomes quiet is because healing is happening slowly. Healing does not always look happy. Sometimes healing looks like silence. Sometimes healing looks like distance. Sometimes healing looks like sleeping more. Sometimes healing looks like replying less. Sometimes healing looks like choosing peace instead of drama. A healing heart may not explain everything anymore. It may not react like it used to. It may not open up quickly. It may not trust easily. But this does not mean it is dead inside. It means it is repairing. It means it is learning to feel safe again. It means it is becoming careful with its energy. The ninth reason your heart becomes quiet is because peace becomes more important than attention. When you are younger in pain, you may want people to notice. You may want them to understand. You may want them to apologize. You may want them to come back. You may want them to regret hurting you. But after enough pain, the heart wants something different. It wants peace. It wants calm mornings. It wants quiet nights. It wants honest love. It wants safe people. It wants emotional rest. It no longer wants to win every argument. And this is when the heart begins to choose peace over attention. The 10th reason your heart becomes quiet is because it is becoming stronger in a softer way. Some people think strength is loud. They think strength means fighting back. They think strength means proving a point. They think strength means never being affected. But real strength can be quiet. Real strength can be walking away without revenge. Real strength can be protecting your peace. Real strength can be not replying to disrespect. Real strength can be choosing yourself without hating anyone. A quiet heart can still be strong. It can still love. It can still care. It can still hope. But now, it loves with wisdom. The final lesson is this. When your heart becomes quiet, do not always call it weakness. Sometimes, it is protection. Sometimes, it is healing. Sometimes, it is maturity. Sometimes, it is your soul asking for rest. You are not cold because you stopped reacting. You are not selfish because you stopped chasing. You are not broken because you became quiet. You are someone who has felt too much for too long. And now your heart is learning how to breathe again. Let it rest. Let it heal. Let it become peaceful. Let it choose who deserves access